I if I can say something about myself as interviewer,
interviewer,
without making that the focus, but I just want to set this question up. So I am not a songwriter. I don't ever want to be. It's not an interest that I have. But I always hold up certain like music as one of the pinnacles of human creativity, especially thinking about like the lyrics in old folk music or early country music, where it's just like or soul music, where it's these very simple but catchy universal themes, and it's just like to do something that like can move a person so much in such a, but it's underlying it is just all of it so simple. What do you hold up as kind of like the pinnacle of creativity, even if it's not related to the kind of creative pursuit that you have? Like, and how does that inspire you? I guess that's the other part of it too. Like, because it's maybe you're not doing that thing, but how does it motivate you to do what you're doing?
I am going to 100% agree with you. It's music for me. My music tastes are very eclectic, but I gravitate towards music that breaks my heart. I gravitate towards music that just it evokes such emotion out of me that it brings me to a time and place. It'll bring me to some sort of it's not even nostalgia. It's this feeling of familiarity in a more generic sense or a more general sense than a specific sense. But it's like I want that feeling. And I try and actually bring that through my photography in a way. There's certain places that I take photographs of where I get that feeling. It's like I can't put my exact finger on why I'm nostalgic about this thing, but I am. And if the light is right and the composition is right and stuff like that, I get like almost a tear in my eye when I'm like taking these photographs, because it evokes the same emotion as some music. Like this is gonna sound super cheesy, but like the last album that Lord Huron did, it feels like, I don't know if it is or not, but it feels like a concept album that was right around like the idealized Hollywood Western movies, but like more like Gene Autry than like
Unforgiven.
Then yeah, like movies like that, or more, Dirty Harry, or not Dirty Harry, but like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
it's more like the super Hollywood polished version of white horses and shiny costumes that had frills on it, and it had this whole feeling. But the music and the lyrics in that album are absolutely gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. So it was like this. It was like basically a statement on the facade of what idealism was, and like that kind of art and that kind of music and that kind of all of that movement, like that, it sings to me. It just does.
Wow.
How about you?
See, when
go after the poet.
When the poet goes first, then I just feel like it's like, yeah, what Mike said. No, I mean, I don't know. I've been thinking about this. So, I mean, I got like recurring things that whether it's television, movie, books, video games. Like, I think the things that all rise to the top that make really good experiences for me, that like make me the happiest, and what I've somewhat tried to do with my own is, first of all, just like I don't generally, with exceptions, give a crap about just like description and like lots of words to describe things. It's the characters and the people and like people I like. It's like also why, with the exception of sitting through all the seasons of Sons of Anarchy and hating it by the end, I don't like shows that like Game of Thrones. I bailed after season 1. I don't like shows where I just even the people you're supposed to root for aren't very nice. I like characters that like kind of like are uplifting to me. And I'm involved. I don't need things to be like all squeaky clean, like Gene Autry, like movies or whatever. But I just want to come out of it feeling pretty positive and good. Like not everybody dies or everybody or it's heavy or dank. I mean, my books get dark, but not. There's an uplifting part. I mean, they don't.
There's some pretty dark moments,
but it doesn't permeate.
No,
and I don't like that in any form of entertainment where I'm like.
But I think in your books too, like the dark moments, they make your characters grow. And the other thing too, I've said this to you a lot, is that you really trust your readers, which I find,
because I don't go into description heavily.
You don't have 7 chapters of
they're short
of explaining what Neptune looks like and all of the micro pieces of a ship that they're
I have no interest
on.
in that.
Well, because you'd rather have the reader drop their own vision of what that is, so you can tell the story of the characters. Like I there's so many books that I've read where I want to skip that much of it because it's just describing mundane crap, and you cut all of that fat out.
And there's people that like that, but I don't.
You let me, as the reader, paint the world and the picture in my own light, and that I think that's incredible. My
science fiction is like one step above like ray guns and stuff. It's like I love it. There's wormholes that take you to other systems, and I call guns pulse guns and stuff. But I have no interest.
But
there's people that like that. They probably aren't gonna like my books. That's okay.
You let me paint that picture for myself. And that's what I appreciate in that, because then I carry the story on. I don't have to wade through seven chapters of you describing what a pulse gun looks like.
But I've gotten so many people say things like, your books remind me of Blade Runner. Your books remind me of Mass Effect, the video game series. Your Cyberpunk, whatever. And like that to me is like the highest praise, because those are the things that inspired me.
Yeah, right on.
Do you want to do a time check? I don't know how much.
I don't know. I don't know when we started.
Do you want to keep going?
Let's keep going. Would you like to keep okay, I'm getting thumbs up from the crowd.
Right. I will at some point have to check the smoker out.
Yes, we're having smoked Impossible burgers, which are going to be fantastic. Let's I think if we safely wrap this up within 10 minutes, we'll be fine. So use your mental. It's 9:20, 9:30. We'll get out of here and let you guys go, and we'll eat our burgers.
I'm curious about, if you look towards the next couple of months, year, what do you want to learn more about as it relates to the creative works that you're making? Like, what do you want to get? What do you want to improve on and just get deeper in and refine?
Well, I mean, this isn't quite what you're asking, but something like I've written. Mike just explained, like they're quick, they're like novellas. And I'm actually attempting right now a novel length. So, I mean, I hope I'd pull that off. I'm actually doing it where there's going to be two point of view switches, like 2 characters. Never done that before. So I'm hoping that in doing it myself, but I've also read stuff recently that I learned to do that effectively and that I pull it off. I mean, when I started, I needed to start somewhere, and like a novel put me off because I'm like, let's get something out there. But, otherwise, it's like anybody who knows me knows that I'm not trying to like get rich off of this. So I'm kind of content with stumbling along, learning. I do hope I can figure some things out though to get my name out there a little more, not because I want to make money, but because I want people to read my stuff because I'm really proud of it. So I don't know what that means. I think it's figuring out the mysterious Facebook algorithms and YouTube, or if it's even maybe doing a little bit of advertising. I don't want to spend lots of money because then it's not going to pay. The little bit I've done already hasn't paid off. Maybe I can learn about that a little bit, on how to get your name out there a little bit more than just pure organic social media. So those are a couple of things that come to mind.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah.
I think, well, one thing is consistency. Like, I feel like with imposter syndrome with photography, because I admire so many photographers and all this stuff, that I always feel like I'm trying to live up to somebody else, and so like I will deviate from my style a little bit to try and like explore new territory, and if it doesn't work, I'm kind of hard on myself. So I want to kind of stay in my lane a little bit and work on that consistency in that lane. And then I think the second thing that I'm doing is that I have 85% of a first short film done, and I need 3 or 4 more shots that I keep putting off, and I like, again, imposter syndrome is like, this is garbage kind of thing. But like I would like to weave more of like some storytelling within photography and filmmaking. And I want to introduce some filmmaking, and I'm kind of trying it out, but it's tough. So like that, I would love to break into that eventually, but it's hard,
You'll get there.
How it sounds like from what you just said and from what I know about you, you're not like, neither of you are in this phase of creating things like, I'm going to be a famous blank.
I think that would ruin the fun.
So it feels like largely, and again, just knowing both of you, you're doing this because it's something that you can get engaged in. It's something that you enjoy. It's something that you are having fun sharing with the world. How would you describe kind of like the ideal, I'm just going to genericize this because you're doing different things, but like kind of the ideal consumer of the work that you're creating? Like who would your work appeal to?
That's a great question. You have lots of great questions. I know you spent hours coming up with these before, and it's really manifested.
I've got Chat GPT in my brain.
I mean, he is like, in books, like sci-fi books, they got like computers in people's brains. That's you.
That's why I'm this way. You can't.
Yeah,
see
you can't see the implants.
Connective implants.
You know what happened? Because we just did that riff there. Now you just lost the question. Damn it.
Who would you say?
Who would like ideal
who
audience?
would like your work? Yeah. Ideal audience,
I think
it's obviously going to be multifaceted. But if you have to generalize, who's going to like the work that you do, and what would they like about it?
I think people that are into, like, again, that's casual science fiction, fast-paced, breezy kind of escapism is going to like mine, versus something really heady where they just want to like just super immerse in a world. So I mean, I think in that way maybe it's a little bit more like a wider audience, because if you hate sci-fi, you're probably not going to like my books. But if you like good characters that kind of like are easy to root for, they're not squeaky clean, but they're likable, I think it has general appeal in that regard.
How about you?
It's a good question. I think in the beginning of my latest photographic journey, I think I was trying to like appeal to other photographers. I wanted validation, and I think that's a fool's errand, because I think any creative pursuit that you're putting something out in the world and you're looking for like your peers and stuff to validate, they're also competing against you in a way. Even though I'm not doing this for a living, there's still people who, I look at their stuff and I'm like, I love your stuff, but I hate you because you're so good. And I would like to think, I don't know, but I'd like to think some people out there feel the same once in a while about some of the things that I do. So I actually, I've thought about this a lot, and when I started thinking about like actually selling my work and making my website and figuring out like this whole fulfillment process and all this stuff to make prints and sell things, my ideal audience is someone who looks at my stuff, and maybe they're not photographer, maybe they are not even remotely creative, or it
makes them happy or inspired.
It's an emotional
reaction. Yeah.
And if someone came to me and said, I bought one of your photographs because it makes me miss Milwaukee, or it makes me nostalgic around my childhood or whatever, that's a greater compliment than anyone saying, I love your stuff. That to me, so that I think that's my pursuit.
So do you worry that having a local focus just based on what you just said, of someone minimizes the potential reach of audience fans because you're talking about people who either have a connection or people who have a connection to Milwaukee in some way.
I love that question because I think does that matter too? Like put that into the question wheel. I don't think now it matters because my website is 2 weeks old or however 2 to 3 weeks old. And I don't think it's, even though my website's called 414 Photo, that's more a representation of who I am, not of what the work is. So I think that over time, the website, the brand, everything is going to evolve. It'll still always be 414 Photo, but I might throw collections up. Right now I have Milwaukee collections because that's what this is the main thing. But I might throw a Door County collection up there. I might throw a Colorado collection up there. I might throw a Kansas City. I took some really awesome pictures out there last year. So I think the cool thing about what I'm trying to do is that right this second, because it's brand new, it feels very local and regional, but it doesn't ever have to be. Once the brand is established, it can be anything that I want it to be. So I'm trying to get through questions. I'm not asking follow-up, so hopefully
it's all right.
You know,
we are at our time limit.
Time limit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're done.
Well, no, I'm not gonna cut it off.
But there's according to that clock, there's 3 minutes left.
Okay, really quick. This is a perfect last question.
Yes.
So I want this to be a very succinct response to both parts of this question. So as it relates to your creative process, I want you to say, as you know, like basically, as it relates to my creative process, I struggle with blank. As it relates to my creative process, I excel at blank.
As it relates to my creative process, I struggle with imposter syndrome. I feel like I don't stack up. As it relates to my creative process, I excel at continuing to try. I am tenacious.
And what do you see? Wrap us up.
I struggle with sort of similar to Mike's answer, but like if I get in my own head as I'm writing, and I can really derail myself by overthinking what I'm writing in the moment, and that can really slow me down, especially right now in the phase where I'm in the rough draft. I excel in never seeming to run out of creative ideas. Like I got a wealth, I got so many ideas for writing that I can go the rest of my life without coming up with new ones, and probably so I just seem to be able to come up with stuff with ease, which is pretty great.
I love that.
Sometimes
you've got a great imagination.
Yeah. Thank you. I got a great imagination. I'll give myself that.
Well, thank you both. Now I'm going to step in as my role as
you're a great interviewer.
I didn't introduce you, which I apologize for, but
That's
I'm going to take back the power and say thank you to Steve, your wonderful host. Always here, always with a smile, always doing Steve.
Always doing Steve.
And this guy, what's your name? Mike Kornacki, the wonderful Mike Kornacki.
And
we love him.
Mike.
Tremendous. One of the best Mike Kornackis I've ever met.
And there's a few out there.
Yeah, there are.
A couple.
And Mike, to cap this off, could you tell everybody that probably hasn't met you before where to find your stuff?
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Mike Kornacki, so that's MIKORNACKI. And I have a website that is 414-photo.com.
And
you can find my GeoCities. Just look up The Interviewer plus GeoCities, and you'll find all of my interviews.
.tv.
Yes, or is MySpace place.
Yeah, I've got that one too. So.
Okay. So again, thank you for watching. This is a lot of fun. Two of my besties here. We're talking about the creative process. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in a week.
Bye.
Bye.